it's Christian Younger with Kaizen Automotive Consulting, and I want to welcome you to another Automotive Best Practice of the Week. In this week's edition, we're going to dispel one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to automotive salespeople, and we're going to learn what the top automotive car people do to establish rapport and create trust with their guest, and they do all this without saying a word. Now, if this is your first time to our channel and you want to improve your sales skills, learn how to use psychology to close more car deals, and receive unbiased dealership product and service vendor reviews, go ahead and make sure you subscribe, and then go ahead and click the bell so you never miss out on learning anything new. Okay, let's go to work. Welcome back. In my 29 years in the automotive industry, as a sales manager, general sales manager, and an automotive sales recruiter and consultant, I've literally interviewed hundreds of sales applicants. One of the common questions that will be asked of sales applicants is, why do you think you'd excel at this particular position at car sales? And one of the common answers you'll hear is, well, I have the gift of gab. I can talk to anyone. And I think it's a common misconception out there that you have to be able to control or dominate the conversation when you're a salesperson, that you should be talking and tell them why they should buy this particular product or service. However, I'm here to tell you it's the exact opposite. The world-class salespeople out there, they know that you should actually dominate the listening. Many of you have probably heard the quote, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in proportion. And you know what? I'm here to tell you that's actually true when it comes to sales. Because the top salespeople, you'll find they talk about maybe 30% of the time, and then they listen to their guests and ask questions to get the guests to tell a little bit more about their needs and wants, probably closer to about 70% of the time. When it comes to automotive sales, we all know that we should ask questions and then listen to the answers to those questions so we can identify our guests' needs and wants. However, there's 4 other reasons and big benefits that you get out of dominating the listening that I want to talk about today. Number 1 is it creates the possibility to earn some trust. There's no faster way to rapport than actually actively listening to your guests' needs and wants. And if you can establish rapport, now you've got a chance to build trust with that guest. I mean, let's face it, the guests, they come in with their guards up a little bit. They're expecting this fast-talking, slick, golden-tongued salesperson to try to talk them into buying a car today. Well, why don't you go ahead and go left when they're expecting you to go right? And talk a little bit less than you normally do. Listen to them a little bit more. Number 2 is it helps build self-esteem. When people know you're listening to them sincerely, you're showing them that you care about what they have to say. And because you care about what they have to say, that makes them feel more important. And them feeling more important leads to more self-esteem. Now, because you were involved and kind of helped them feel more important and raise their self-esteem, some of that good feeling gets unconsciously transferred to you. So good news for you, now you're one step closer to rapport, which could lead to that trust. The third reason why automotive salespeople want to dominate the listening is it reduces resistance. There's a natural resistance that guests have when it comes to walking into a car dealership. There's some tension there and defensiveness that just is part of our business. And unfortunately, not everybody finds this the most pleasant experience. In fact, when it's been ranked in experiences, it's been ranked between getting sued and getting a root canal. So hate to burst your bubble, but not everybody likes to go do this. So when you run into somebody that's listening to you and you like this person, it's kind of hard to be upset with that person and come down hard on them when they've been paying attention to your needs and wants the whole time. After all, what's that old saying when it comes to disciplining your children? This is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. So it's difficult for people to come down hard on people they like. Number 4, it helps develop self-discipline for the listener. We can listen and understand at a rate of about 500 to 600 words per minute. Yet when we speak, we only speak at about 125 to 150 words in a minute. So there's a pretty big gap there, and it's really hard to listen without letting your mind drift. So by practicing active listening, you really practice on focusing and concentrating on what the guest's saying. And that's just going to obviously make you a better listener, which in turn is going to help you identify their needs and wants much better. And who knows, the practice, it actually might save your marriage. In this next section, I'd like to give you my top 4 best practices for becoming a better active listener. Number 1, listen attentively. It's been said that the eyes, they're the windows to the soul. So what I want you to do is look whoever you're talking to dead straight in the eyes, and that'll let them know that you're listening to them and that you're focused on them. But that's the easy part. The next part is clearing your mind. Clearing your mind so you can focus on exactly what they're saying to you. And then this last part, it's the most important. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say next. Just listen. The second best practice, pause. Pause 3 seconds before responding after the guest or whoever you're speaking with has just got done talking. By pausing, what you're going to do is you're going to show them that you actually care and that you had listened, but you're also going to invite them to maybe give you a little bit more detail on what they have just said. I mean, people find this 3 seconds of silence kind of uncomfortable. And so a lot of times they'll just continue on and give you a little more detail to what they had just told you, and that'll help you identify their needs and wants even further. Best practice number 3, ask questions using mirrors. According to Chris Voss, who is head FBI negotiator and authored the book back here, Never Split the Difference, he says using mirrors brings out crucial and critical buying information that would have never been revealed had you not asked the mirror questions. Now, what is a mirror? Well, a mirror is just simply repeating back the last 3 important words or the part of the statement that the guest had just made, and it's repeating those back to them in a question form. Using mirrors, what it does is it insinuates empathy, which in turn creates bonding. And then that bonding, that helps build trust. Now, how could we use this in the automotive business, or what's an example? Well, let's pretend for a moment that we've spent a little time with a guest, and then all of a sudden, as we're talking to them, they look over at us and say, you know what, that salesperson at the other dealership, they really pissed me off. And then you would just look at them with an inquisitive type of look and ask the question, pissed you off? Well, yeah, I told him I didn't have much credit, and he told me I'd need a co-signer even if I put money down. You'd say, money down. And they, well, yeah, I've got money. When I was 17 years old, I got attacked by this dog, and I got a $50,000 settlement that I put in the bank. I think it's sitting in a CD. Really? $50,000 CD? Yeah, I've got that money available. I don't want to take it out. However, maybe, there could be something that could be done to help me get a loan. Well, as you can see, this information is crucial. It's critical information for us to help this guest get approved for a car loan. Perhaps we could borrow against the $50,000. We could look and see if there's any penalties using some of that money as a down payment. So again, this mirror, it's going to reveal a lot more information than we would have got normally had we not asked the mirror question. Best practice number 4, once again, comes from Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference. And that's using labels to learn more and to clarify. Labeling is just a way to validate your guest's emotion by acknowledging it. And once we give that emotion a name, we show that we identify with how the guest feels. For an example in the automotive business, let's pretend that it's a slow Tuesday afternoon, and you happen to be out on the point watching vehicles come in and out of the dealership lot, and you observe this middle-aged woman. She pulls onto your lot and she parks as far away as she can from everybody. She parks way out away from where anybody is, and she gets out of her car real quick. She's looking around, looks very nervous, jumps back into the car very quickly. Anytime a salesperson approaches her, she jumps back into the car. In fact, when you go over to approach just to see if there's any questions she might have or you can answer, she jumps back in the car and she gives you a dirty look and drives off the lot. Now, 2 days later, that Thursday, you happen to be out in the lot again, and you see her drive back up. And she really just does the same thing. She drives around, she stops, gets out, jumps back in, gets out, jumps back in. Then you can tell that she didn't really want to do it, but she drove over by you, she rolled the window down about halfway, she took a vehicle detail page printout from some type of a website, probably your website, and she kind of shoves it in your face and says, do you guys have this Honda CR-V, or is this one of these bait and switches? Now after this exchange, you can't help but think, man, this lady's a real bear. But you don't respond like that. You go ahead and smile and say, well, I'll be happy to check on that for you. I think I know where it's at. Would you mind following me, please? And so then she does not get out of the car. She goes ahead and trails you at about 2 miles an hour with the window halfway down. You're trying to ask questions through the window. She's just answering them with a quick yes or no, very short and to the point with her answers, showing that she's very distrustful and not really happy about being there, and especially not happy about having to talk to you. Now you finally get to the Honda CR-V that she's interested in. When you do, the good news is she does get out of the vehicle. However, her body language tells you that she doesn't really want to be there and that there's a lot of distrust, and she doesn't really like the fact that she has to go through this process. So at this point you decide, you know what, I'm going to label this emotion. I'm going to label this distrust and this disdain that seems very apparent for car salespeople and car dealerships. So you just simply say this: ma'am, it seems like you really got your guard up. But I guess I can't really blame you. I mean, the past actions of a few bad actors in the automotive business have kind of tarnished the image for a lot of us. Now, after you say this, you can see in her body language, in her eyes, you can just see the relief, the tension that just goes out of the muscles and out of her body. And she's so happy that somebody's identified with her. And she goes on to tell you everything you need to know. She tells you that her father has passed away 3 months prior to this visit, and that she never has purchased a car without him. So there's a lot of anxiety because of that. Also, she happens to be very, very busy at work, and she hasn't been able to go pick up her anxiety medication from the drugstore, so therefore you've got that tension on top of everything else. She goes on to give you all the information that you need to know to be able to go ahead and help her take home a brand new Honda CR-V about 2 or 3 hours later after this meeting. Now, I'd like to point out that these last two best practices, the mirroring and the labeling, they're just simply tools. Tools to help you gain more information that hopefully will get you to understand their needs and wants a little bit better and help you deliver a car today. However, this new intel is useless. Useless if you don't have the ability to be able to clear your mind and to be able to listen, and listen attentively, and listen without thinking of what you're going to say next. Well, there you have it, how the top car salespeople in the automotive industry gain trust, are able to show more empathy, and find out their guest hot buttons, all by keeping their mouth shut more often so they can dominate the listening. Now, if you'd like to get more automotive psychology selling tips, please go ahead and click on the video that's coming up right about now.